All right, guys. So let's get into our next topic. As I was thinking about what we wanted to talk about tonight after we did our rankings here, I decided that I wanted to open up a can of worms because I'm a glutton for punishment like that. I want to talk about who is the most overrated coach in college football and the most overrated coach in the Big Ten. Now, I will be the first one to admit that we are Buckeye homers. We're wearing scarlet and gray colored glasses here. Okay? I'm making Chris. I know, Chris. I know.
You think I'm going to say something that I'm not?
Okay, okay. I'm hope. I don't know, man. I don't. You could go one of two ways with this thing. I know, but let's start with nationally the most overrated coach in college football nationally. Now, before you give your answer, I want you to explain what criteria that you used to come up with your answer for your first one. And Chris, I'm going to give you the honors of going first tonight. Who is the most overrated coach in college football and why?
Okay, for me, I looked at criteria. My criteria were, of course, win-loss record, bowl wins, wins over ranked opponents, also recruiting, and finally, basically the type of jobs they've had or been offered. Um, so for me, and I know he's not the sexy pick to be the most annoying or most overrated. The first thought was, I'm not gonna lie, the first person I dived into was Coach
Can I guess?
Prime.
I was going to guess it was Deion Sanders.
It was Coach Prime,
Yeah.
and as bad as his season was at Colorado, he actually had some great seasons at Jackson State. And he did some pretty good recruiting things down there, so I couldn't ding that guy. Of course, I looked at Dumbo Sweeney, but Dumbo, he does have some national titles. Kind of hard to ding that guy. So it came down to one of two people: Brian Kelly, who I just cannot stand, or somebody I can't stand even more: Mario Cristobal from Miami.
I thought about him. Okay.
74 and 73 overall, 3-4 bowl game record. And by the way, although those wins in the Red Box Bowl and the Little Caesars Pizza Bowl were quite impressive, he just doesn't get it done in the big bowl games. He's got one big bowl victory, 0-6 when he was at versus ranked teams when he was at Ford International. Only 7-6 against ranked teams at Oregon, and he's been 1-6 against ranked teams since going to Miami. Guys, that's 8-18 overall against ranked teams. And it's no wonder that the people in Miami want Ryan Day. It's not, because this guy is just not good. He's only had 2 seasons in 13 years where he's actually had more than 10 wins, or 10 wins or more, I should say. He's had 6 losing seasons. Nearly half of his seasons have been losing seasons. Yet whenever a high-profile job comes up, you hear his name at least mentioned. I don't get it. I don't understand it. The guy is the most overrated coach in college football.
Okay. JR, you're up next, buddy.
All right, so I went through the. You guys know CBS puts out like coaches rankings every year, like their consensus. They ask all their writers to rank the coaches, and then they put them out. So I checked on like the usual kind of guys, like Deion Sanders, trying to find where he's ranked right now. I can't find him. I know he's. So Deion Sanders right now is ranked 61st on their list. I don't know if I can say he's overrated if they have him 61st, right? 61st seems kind of right for Deion Sanders in my mind. I think they might have Sharon Moore ranked ahead of him, and Sharon Morris entering his first season as a head coach. So I don't know. I completely agree with you, Chris, on Mario Cristobal. I think he was in the top 30 on their list. He brings in all kinds of talent and can never win anything at Miami. He did a lot of good stuff with the leftover coaches stuff and good O-line recruiting in Oregon. But yeah. So should I give both of my nationwide guys or just one of them?
You have 2 national?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Give us the other one.
Oh no, I have 2 more. Sorry.
Oh, you have 3. All right, yeah. Give me all 3.
Okay, I'll give the normal one. Dabo Swinney. I know he has 2 national championships, but like he doesn't use the transfer portal. He was ranked number 3 on the CBS like coaches rankings thing. It's just baffling in my mind. Nobody out there would choose Dabo Swinney to be their head coach today over a Kalen DeBoer or over a Brian Kelly. Nobody would choose him over those guys in my mind. So that's just kind of what I did. I just looked at the guys around him. I'm like, would I take these other head coaches instead of them, thinking about all the stuff? I didn't have as much data as Chris. My other one, and this one fires me up because I think he has stunk everywhere, but he had one good season and now he's in the top 5, which is Steve Sarkisian at Texas. People have wanted Texas to be good for so long. I don't know why. Their fans are stupid. I hate talking to them. I hate listening to, the Lambos and all this other stuff and, all the talent that's down there and everything they have. But he jumped. They had him last time. I looked back at the 2023 rankings. They had him at 37. He goes to the playoffs, gets his butt beat by Kalen DeBoer, who was ranked 7th. Kalen DeBoer just beat him with Washington. Tell me how Washington gets better talent than Texas. Kalen DeBoer just smacked his butt around, beat him, and Steve Sarkisian is 5th, but Kalen DeBoer is 7th. You tell me how that makes any sense. Steve Sarkisian is not even a top 10 coach. He had one good season. Congrats, Steve. You have a good offensive mind. You call your own plays. You're not a top 10 coach. You have a whole bunch of oil money down there to pay recruits. You got a Lambo distributor near you, so that way you can get Lambos on the campus. He's not a good coach, and Texas is going to be bad again at some point by their standards, and it's not going to go well.
SEC bias, man.
Yeah, the SEC was the best thing that ever happened to Texas for these rankings.
Chris, do you have anybody else? By the way, JR, your mic's popping a little bit. Something happened after you muted and came back on.
Okay.
I did not list anybody else for the national, but you know what? I mean, we could sit here all day long and go on about guys who are overrated and don't deserve it. I mean, obviously Sarkisian's a big one as well for me, but we'll save it. We'll save it because it's a Big Ten guy.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Yeah, I actually said it right when that came on, so thank you for that. All right. Here you go. Here we go. When I think overrated, I throw out stats. I don't want to look at wins and losses. I say 2 things. Who does everybody talk about, but at the end of the day, they don't live up to the expectations that everybody has for him?
I bet I know where you're going.
And he's national because he's not played in the Big Ten yet. So I'm cheating a little bit here because this might be your guys' answer for the Big Ten. It's Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley has all these great he's the quarterback whisperer. How many Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks has he had? 3 or 4?
3.
How
many national championships?
Never won a playoff game with him.
Thank you, JR. You're still popping. It's gotten worse, actually. So I don't know how he's I was watching the chat, and sorry if I'm about to say something wrong. I didn't see anybody not mention him in the chat. However, a close second for me is who a lot of you've mentioned, and that's Brian Kelly. Same thing. Brian Kelly took Notre Dame to 2 or 3 national championships and won none, and he always underachieved. And guess what, LSU? Cry me a river. You're never going to win the big one with him as your head coach. By the way, I can't wait. This is one of my predictions. I can't wait for the LSU versus Notre Dame first-round playoff game this year at Notre Dame Stadium. That's going to be lit. So I kind of cheated here. I went Lincoln Riley because at the end of the day, I look at USC and I say to myself, there's no way that guy, all those years in Oklahoma, all that talent, nothing to show for it. And everybody keeps giving this guy a pass, and he is on the road to being Brian Kelly. So those are my 2 answers. All right, here we go. Mello agrees with me. He also said Boggs for the win. Thank you, buddy. Now, I don't know. I might have stole your thunder here, Chris. Now let's go to the Big Ten. The most overrated coach in the Big Ten is who?
Now, before I get started, yes, I did consider it, Eric. I considered making a lot of people on here mad.
Can I answer this real fast?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you guys root for LSU versus Notre Dame? I'm not rooting for either one of them. Notre Dame right now can't stand LSU, and LSU can't stand Notre Dame because of the coach effect that they have there. So because of the Kelly effect, and I just think it's must see TV. I could care less if either one wins or loses. To be honest with you, Mello, I just want to watch it because I think that's great. Yes, continue. Go ahead, Chris.
So I considered making a lot of people mad on here and going with Ryan Day. I really did.
Eric Osbeck just said it. Yep.
Because even though he's 56-8, he's got 3 jobs in the last 3 years. He's failed at all of them. Hasn't beat that team up north. Hasn't won a Big Ten conference title. Hasn't won the Natty. He's been less than great at the top 10, 8-7, 2-6 against top 5. It's all documented. But ultimately, I decided that no one in the Big Ten does less with more than James Franklin. I mean, come on. The overall record looks good. 112-54. That's not bad. It's what, about 68% winning percentage, I think? Not too shabby. Over 10 seasons, he's had 10 or more wins, 4 or 5 times? Yet he is 6-6 in bowl games. I'm sorry, that's 13 seasons total as a coach, and 10 times he's had it. He's had 10 or more wins 5 times. There we go. 10 or more wins 5 times in 13 seasons. 6-6 though in bowl games, including 4-5 as a head coach at Penn State. Here's the big one: 4-16 versus Ohio State and Michigan. He is 12-26 versus ranked teams, 3-17 versus top 10, 1-8 versus top 5 teams. In 10 years, he's got 1 Big Ten championship. And half the time, Ryan Day's doubled him up. To me, this guy, he gets decent recruiting classes. But you know what? He is 9-3 James Franklin every year. 9-3, 10-2 if it's a good year. He is what he is. But for some reason, I mean, if you remember right, this guy was thought to be going to USC when Lincoln Riley got the job. Completely overrated. Completely. He doesn't belong in the Big Ten. And what's worse than all this, Eric, is the fact that he's just not a good person. Given what we've heard come out, he's just not a good person.
You have saddled. That story has given you a saddle to ride that guy this entire rest of the summer, hasn't he?
It really has. It makes me sick. So I got James Franklin as the most overrated coach in the Big Ten. And side note, the reason that Ryan Sharon isn't in there yet is because, to me, he hasn't coached a game in the Big Ten. Well, I mean,
He
Kind of.
technically hasn't lost a game as a head coach yet.
Yeah,
Technically.
technically. But you know what? I can't rate him good, bad, or otherwise just yet.
Okay, so here's my thing. I turned the volume down, so hopefully I'm not popping as much now. I think I was yelling. I think that was the issue.
Actually, it sounds great. Why don't you go ahead and turn your volume another
A
notch or
little bit
two
up.
up?
Okay.
Sound,
I'm
yeah,
talking in
sound
a
really.
normal voice now, so that probably
Actually, I don't
helps.
hear it. Sounds good. I think you fixed
All
it.
right. I just won't yell anymore. I'll try not to.
Yell! We want to
Uh,
hear it, JR. Get passionate about it in there.
I have 2 goals the rest of the episode. Don't say stupid. Don't yell.
Well, you just broke the first one, so might as
Well,
well
I
break the
was saying
second
it
one.
in reference.
It's
Okay,
a
so
drinking game.
I have a thought on Ryan Day. All right, so Ryan Day on the CBS coaches consensus rankings is ranked second. I feel like that's too high, right? But here are the guys ranked under him, and you guys tell me if you would rather these guys be Ohio State's head coach over
All right.
Ryan Day. Okay, so let's
Yep.
just go one by one. Dabo Sweeney,
No.
Eric.
No. No way. No.
Okay, Brian Kelly,
No. Hell no.
No way.
Steve Sarkisian,
No.
No.
Kyle Whittingham.
No, but I like the
No, but I
guy.
like the guy.
I like
like
him,
the
but I don't think he would be able to handle Ohio State. This one I would. Kalen DeBoer.
No.
I would take Kalen DeBoer over.
I'm not a
Ryan Day.
buyer on
Really?
the board.
I would.
Why?
I would.
Just because
he just has the
Alabama
winning-
wanted him?
Well, he has the winning record. I think that him getting to the national championship game at Washington was impressive. He's recruiting better at Alabama right now than I thought he would. He's in some tight recruiting battles with Ohio State, and quite frankly, he might win a few of them. So they might flip Naeem Offord. I don't think it'll happen, but it's possible, especially with Tim Walton at Ohio State. If he's able to flip him, could be a good thing. We'll see. I don't know. I think he should probably be ranked above Ryan Day, but we'll see. Mike Norvell.
No.
No.
So I guess in my mind, it's like if there's only one coach in college football that we can consensus say we would have over him and Kirby Smart, right? Every single one of us would take Kirby Smart over Ryan Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's come back to this after this season.
Yeah,
Okay,
fair.
Exactly.
Right. But right now, all of us would take Kirby Smart over Ryan Day.
Mm-hmm.
I would, without a doubt. In my mind, if he's the coach, only one behind Kirby Smart, like maybe second, maybe third, isn't overrated. Like, I don't know. There's just so many coaches not in college football anymore. Saban's not in college football. Harbaugh's not in college football. Like, so him being second or third, depending on how you have it, I don't think it's overrated. I just think there's not as many good coaches in college football right now.
So who's your guy in the Big Ten?
Oh, I have multiple guys. I very much dislike the coaches in the Big Ten.
He's pulling an Aaron.
Yeah.
I also have Lincoln Riley. I don't need to go into that. Dan Lanning, he annoys the crap out of me. What has he won? He's ranked 9th on their thing. He went from 36 to 9th this past year. What did he do other than lose to Washington twice? Like, okay, he got Bo Nix, who started at quarterback for him, 2 or 3 years, and was a very, well-minded quarterback. And then he went out and got Dylan Gabriel, who everybody wants to talk about how Will Howard got replaced by Avery Johnson, which I know that's not exactly the case. I'm just saying that's the narrative that people put out there. But nobody wants to talk about how Dylan Gabriel got, basically the same treatment by Oklahoma with Jackson Arnold coming in to replace him. Like, if you got to say that that Avery Johnson came in to replace Will Howard, you got to say that Jackson Arnold came in to replace Dylan Gabriel as well. So, I don't know. I don't see it. I think he's getting a whole lot of love this offseason. I think the Oregon fans pipe him up. I don't think he's that good of a recruiter. I think he has Phil Knight money. Great job. But I don't think he's that great of a recruiter. I think he learned everything that he knows from Kirby, and he's using it, and he has the Nike, bank behind him. So I don't know. I think he's overrated. And then my final one, Kirk Ferentz. Kirk Ferentz is 100% overrated. CBS has him a top 20 coach. I have some hard and fast
God.
numbers. You guys ready for this?
What?
You guys ready for this? Okay.
I
The
guess.
Big Ten West was born. All right. Big Ten West mama had Big Ten West baby in 2014. If we don't count 2020, because that wasn't a full season, Kirk Ferentz in the Big Ten West era had 3 double-digit win seasons. How many did he have in the 9 seasons prior to the Big Ten West? Because he's been around since,
How many double-digit win seasons before the Big Ten West?
Yes.
1.
The 9 seasons prior.
1.
1. Yes.
I nailed it.
3.
Yep.
He had 3 in the Big Ten West, the 9 seasons of it, but only 1 prior to that.
And it was the year they beat us, I think.
Yes.
Wasn't it?
I think so too.
I think, I remember that game, man. Against Tressel.
9 years prior to the Big Ten West, he was 66-48. 9 years after the Big Ten West, so of the Big Ten West, he's 82-38. That's a 10% better winning percentage just by having the Big Ten West. We saw what happened to them last year when they played Penn State. They were absolutely demoralized. A team that Ohio State and Michigan both beat. They were absolutely demoralized, 31-0. Yes, it was the whiteout, all this good stuff. But if he's not playing Big Ten West caliber teams, look at what happened with Tennessee in the bowl game. If he's not playing Big Ten West caliber teams where his defense can play well and the other team can't out-athlete them, they're not going to win. They're not going to do a good job. So welcome to the new Big Ten, Kirk Ferentz. You have a pretty good schedule for yourself this year, but the schedules are only going to get harder, and I don't think he's going to win at the same level he was when he was in the Big Ten West.
All right. Before I answer this question, I preface this by saying this. Given this and chat, I want your honest answer, chat. Give it to me honestly here. Oh, Sky You Pod guys, what's up?
Yes, that was another thing I meant to mention. Yes, they only play Iowa State. Like, how do they get away with only playing Iowa State? They're a disgrace to the Big Ten. Kirk Ferentz should retire. Thank you.
I'm going to really make you guys happy in just a second. But I preface this question by saying this. And chat, get ready. Given this talent and given this roster, if we lose against that team up north this season, and we do not win the Big Ten, and we do not win a national championship, is Ryan Day the most overrated coach in the Big Ten? Yes or no?
And in the nation.
Yes or no? Chris?
Yes, and in the nation.
JR?
I mean, what's the perception of what he's ranked? If he's still ranked second, then yeah. But if he gets bumped down to like...
In your mind, what's he... I don't care about the ranking. In your mind, if he doesn't beat that team up north and win the Big Ten, at least that, is he not the most overrated coach in the Big Ten? Yes or no?
Lincoln Riley's hard to beat. He's at the very least tied with
Okay.
Lincoln Riley.
Chat, I love you. I love you, chat, for your honesty. Here we go. Southeast Dago 619. Yes, without question. Jeremy, I love it, man. Jeremy, this is my answer too. Yes, but it won't happen. Donald and Karen. Yes. I think Coconut, I don't know if this is the answer to the question or not. No doubt, bro. I think that's for something else. Mello. Fired, he says. Eric Osbeck, most overrated OSU coach in our history. Whoa.
Coop was up there.
Sean Sharp, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Not when it comes to being
The
overrated.
expectations for Coop were not as high as they are.
I guess I didn't.
Well, there were years where they were.
There were years, but not consistently.
Overall, I agree.
Yeah.
Sean Schrock, yes. Tyler, yes. Bobby Mack, yes. If he loses to them, I fire him on the spot. Yeah, Washington, yes, but not going to happen. I love those answers. Bello, $5 holler. Good thing we won't find that out, Boggs. Natty season. That's right. By the way, we're working on a Natty or Bust t-shirt, guys. That's going to happen. It's going to be later this summer. We're going to have the Natty or Bust t-shirt available for you.
Dago's right. I was thinking just the Michigan game, but Dago's right about the title.
Cooper has that title.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I get to give my answer. Kirk Ferentz has dirtied. Okay, Kirk Ferentz has soiled that program so bad. Iowa, if you go back, I'm talking go way back in the time machine.
Mm.
Okay? Iowa at one time, and spare me the it couldn't happen today thing. Iowa had a number one team at one time. They were the best team in the Big Ten before Kirk Ferentz got there in the mid '80s. Okay, you wanted to, yeah, I think it was '86. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. They were number one, and they came into Ohio State, and we shocked them. We had Chris Spielman at linebacker that year. It was a rainy day. It was on the AstroTurf. It was like they were playing in a pond, okay? They were the number one team in the country. That team has beaten the team up north multiple times when Ohio State actually was the third or fourth best team in the conference at times. And Kirk Ferentz has somehow, over time, gotten the fan base to lower their expectations and be satisfied with 8, 9, and 10 win seasons, and has held that entire fan base hostage. There is, and trust me, I know James Franklin is overrated. Trust me, he's overrated. But there is not a more overrated grandpa coach in all of football than Kirk Ferentz. Completely overrated. So much so, he still plays football from the 1970s, which you're right, JR, was good enough to win a lot of games when they were just playing the Big Ten West. It's not going to happen anymore. Mark it down. Here's my hot take. We always give predictions going into the season. Here's my prediction. This will be Kirk Ferentz's last year in the Big Ten. He will retire at the end of this season. Mark it down. Kirk Ferentz Iowa will have a new head coach next year. That's one of my predictions for this year. Most overrated coach in the Big Ten. So, but Ryan Day better win it. Donald and Karen Rosbach, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. It is not going to happen, Boggs. He is going to win it all. OH, and we all know what to do here. IO. Absolutely, Donald. I think this is a big year for us. And SkyUPod, that was for you guys, if you're still listening. Kirk Ferentz, most overrated coach in the Big Ten, hands down. Matt, you're right. You were the one who brought that up in your call. It was in your phone call. That game is when I became a Buckeye as a 5-year-old. Yeah, how cool, man. All right, Buckeye Blitz, he agrees. You can't argue that fact about Iowa, and the SkyUPod is giving us a round of applause for that one. He is, man. I'm telling you. That guy, I really wish, for the Iowa fans' sake, I wish he has such a bad year that the administration has no choice but to fire him if he refuses to step down.
They're going to give him the Brian Ferentz treatment?
He listen.
You know they're not going to fire him.
They need to.
They need to have
better expectations than that, man.
They've had the past 50 years, they've had 2 coaches, right?
Yeah. Well, and the basketball program's the same way.
Yeah, this is just the way this school operates. Here's your coach. Deal with him for 25 years.
Let me give you this scenario. Kirk Ferentz steps down or is fired, and they go up to Ames, Iowa, and get Campbell to travel on down and over to Iowa City to be their next head coach. That would be juicy. That one would be juicy. I don't know. I haven't thought about who they might get, but I know this much. That job, you have to have the right person in that job. It better be
Yeah.
an offensive guy. It better be.